Hello, this is GallifreyanAvenger here. Now, most of you Doctor Who fans will have some notion as to the next word I'm about to mention and what it means. Torchwood. To those of you less informed, Torchwood was a spin-off series of Doctor Who written by Russell T Davies, inspired by Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. It featured John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness, reprising his role from Doctor Who as the Immortal Time Agent. The series is set in Cardiff, Wales, built over a rift in time and space, used as the MacGuffin explaining alien appearances.
There's a rift through space and time that runs through Cardiff, Reese, and stuff slips through it from other timelines and planets, and it's our job to monitor it.
For the most part, the show explores the different dynamics of each character on the team and how they engage with alien threats. And the other part is just the production team seeing how much they can get away with in the post-Watershed time slot. Ah well, bit of creative license didn't hurt anyone. I mean, look at Horn and Corton, they had a creative license and it was one of the worst sketch shows we've ever seen. Yes, there is a lot of risque material and heavy-handed sexual content in the show to delineate its differences from Doctor Who, but for f***'s sake, there's such a thing as subtlety.
Need a hand getting it up, Owen?
If I did, I wouldn't ask you.
I mean, come on, sex gas? Really? And I know you were just trying to find your feet, but that was a bit much. Aside from the show's lowbrow humour, it follows the story of Police Constable Gwen Cooper, played by Eve Miles, and how she gets introduced into the world of the extraterrestrial.
Who are you? What is this place? What was that? Pterodactyl.
She gets introduced to the unpredictable Jack Harkness, the dry and sarcastic Yanto Jones,
Who's for Chinese?
the womanising Owen Harper,
Do you want a drink? Or what?
the shy and reserved Toshiko Sato,
You have a boyfriend? Yeah. Have you? Don't have time with this job.
and Susie. Yeah, we don't really talk about Susie. Interesting subplots turn up as the show progresses, including Gwen having an affair with Owen, Toshiko's reaction to that affair, Jack's history being explored more, Yanto having a secret girlfriend that's actually a Cyberman, and so on. The odd Doctor Who reference is also thrown in for the hell of it.
Miss Martha Jones.
Personally, I found it really cool that the two shows tied in, especially in the Series 4 finale of Doctor Who, Journey's End. At 14 years of age, it was f***ing mind-blowing seeing the Doctor, Sarah Jane, Torchwood, all these people joining together and saving the world. Now for me, the first two series showed the programme at its best. The third series was impressive but ultimately depressing, and the fourth series was just depressing. A lot of this had to do with the character development. For the first three series, you would see such wonderful moments of character interaction, highlighting what truly made them tick.
You said we weren't allowed to use that again.
It's just a mind probe.
Remember what happened last time you used it?
That was different. That species has extremely high blood pressure.
All right, their heads must explode all the time.
My favourite episode is the first one of Series 2, called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, as it showed the team in the favourable light. This episode was also my favourite because it proved the point that Russell T Davies was influenced by Buffy the Vampire Slayer when they cast James Marsters as Captain John Hart. I'm sorry guys, that character was awesome, but it was really just Spike in space. But getting back on track, the characters of Owen, Toshiko and Yanto were built up hugely as the series went on, only to inevitably result in their untimely deaths. I preferred their characters better than Jack and Gwen, particularly after they died and the series continued on to Miracle Day. Their absences stuck out like a sore thumb. When will producers get it into their heads that not everything is improved or glamorised by bringing it stateside? I loved the Torchwood Hub. It looked like the coolest workplace ever. But as soon as Russell T Davies announced his departure as showrunner of Doctor Who, it was blown up and the set was scrapped to make way for Matt Smith's TARDIS. So they had to make do with an abandoned warehouse in Series 3, and the California beach house in Series 4, which didn't look nearly as impressive. Certain plot holes rubbed me the wrong way as well.
For example, in Series 3, when the hub blows up along with Captain Jack, only for himself to become resurrected, he doesn't seem the slightest bit bothered that there were pretty valuable things there, namely his brother, suspended in cryosleep.
I understand he'd become a vengeful killer at the end of Series 2, and he's the reason Tosh is dead. But Jack still felt terrible sedating him. Where the hell was that grief when he came back from the dead? I mean, quite literally, it was nothing more than, meh, you win some, you lose some. Now I understand there was a bigger agenda at hand. He had just found out he was being assassinated by Peter Capaldi, which is quite funny, because he's the 12th Doctor now. The 12th Doctor tried to kill Captain Jack. Isn't that just a wonderful fan fiction story you need? I know he had a bigger agenda at hand, but come on, it's his brother. Now you could argue at the end of the third series though, or this is just me probably, that family sentiment no longer meant anything to him because he ended up sacrificing the life of his own grandson to save the world. But it's still a sore topic.
The show addressed some dark issues during its run, such as relationship extremes, debt, animal or creature cruelty, debt, global disasters, sleeper cell terrorists, death, human behaviour, causality, child abduction, and death.
We also explored the effects of how human life would be affected if death disappeared in a crumbling mess called Miracle Day. Seriously, it would have been fine if it wasn't trying to pass itself off as something else. What really got me as well is that it was all left on a cliffhanger, and we never heard from it again.
The ending of Series 3 was good at least, and it provided closure, and it should have been left like that. It's like drawing a handlebar moustache in the Mona Lisa. You just don't do it! I lost respect quite quickly for Gwen, particularly in the scene where she tries to get Rhys to forgive her about the affair and retcons him so that he would have no memory of it.
Quite rightly so. Rhys calls her...
You selfish bitch!
I was so thankful when the episode came out where he finally learned about Torchwood.
You know, sometimes I f***ing hate you.
Gwen's teammates, on the other hand, they had such sad backstories that it was easier to get onto their sides, and it made it all the more gut-wrenching when they reached their untimely ends. When they killed off Yanto, that was it. Tosh and Owen's deaths were saddening, but Yanto was half of what kept the show together. You needed that dry wit he had, you just needed it. And what were we given in Series 4? We were given gratuitous sex scenes and wonderful visual metaphors for the female genitalia. Ah, bless.
And without any irony, they called it the blessing.
Jack's immortality lost his gimmick a long time ago as well. So what did they decide to give us? 2 immortal men! That was part of the cliffhanger. Not that we gave much of a damn about Rex Matheson anyway, but now he's immortal too? And also, tell me this, because this gets me. This really, really gets me. What's all this about Jack's immortality stemming from his blood? From what I gathered, the reason he became immortal is because Rose Tyler looked into the time vortex at the end of Series 1 of Doctor Who. She couldn't control the time energy. She brought life to Captain Jack. He became a fixed point in time and space. How does that have anything to do with his blood? Am I missing something?
It's not a hereditary thing, otherwise his father would still be alive.
And another thing. What happened to Tosh's mother? We're never told what happened to her. The backstory of Toshiko was the saddest thing ever. This is another reason why Fragments is one of my favourite episodes ever. Toshiko was blackmailed by this criminal group.
In return for her mother's safety, she was forced into stealing plans from the Ministry of Defence for a sonic modulator, which she then used to manufacture the device herself.
When the illicit group turned on them, Una showed up, they apprehended everybody. Tosh was thrown in jail, we assumed the same thing happened to the criminal group. And Tosh's mother is gone. And it's really confusing as well, because in the finale of Series 1, Tosh sees a vision of her mother with a scar on her head. I naturally assumed that her mother must have died. But then, going back to the flashback and Fragments, when Jack saves her from the unit prison, she says that she will still have contact with her mother.
What about my mother?
Limited contact only. You can send her postcards.
But where is she? What happened to her? Despite these little nitpicks, let's be honest, these are nitpicks. Torchwood was amazing because it gave you the fascinating perspective of looking at the extraterrestrial world from an adult perspective rather than the family perspective of Doctor Who. There was a bit more realism to Torchwood as to how humans would react to global threats. Yeah, that's Torchwood in a nutshell. It's adult Doctor Who. It follows the adventures of a high-tech extraterrestrial prevention agency. It's a pretty interesting ride. Here's hoping that the series will come back brighter, a bit better than it was last time because Miracle Day was a train wreck, and I just hope that there's a bit more charm to it. I've been GallifreyanAvenger. Thank you for watching, and good luck to you all. And remember, the 21st century is when it all changes, and you gotta be ready.
The 21st century is when it all changes, and you gotta be ready.
Have you ever eaten alien meat?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Oh, he seemed to enjoy it.